Hey studs, welcome back. This is the Sunshine's Mansion, where Sunflower, Hayseed, Punky Brewster, Brown Biscuit, Tender, Buck Buck Choi, the German, Colonel's Favorite, and Cluck Norris live. In this video, I'll be telling the story of Hayseed and Sunflower, and how Hayseed wanted to build her a home, for they could start a family. This house is stunning, using a variety of Lego kits, and somehow the colors match. Well, I hope they do. By the beach with the forest in the backyard, this home's location is breathtaking. Hayseed sat on the porch swing, the wood creaking, a familiar rhythm beneath him. The evening air, sweet with the scent of honeysuckle and a distant damp earth, wrapped around him like a warm blanket. His hands, gnarled and strong from a lifetime tending to his flock, rested on his knees. From this very spot, he could see the whole expanse of his life. The neatly tilted garden, the ancient oak, and beyond that, the cluster of retired coops, silent now, but still standing guard over the property. But his gaze always returned to the house itself. Not a ground house, never was, just a sturdy farmhouse, painted a cheerful yellow many years ago, now softened to a buttery cream by the sun and the seasons. It wasn't built by a crew, or from a kit. Oh, it's a fat loan. This house was built by Hayseed, for Sunflower, and for the three little ones who would soon fill his rooms with laughter and noise. It was 1957, he began, his voice a low rumble, as if speaking to the house itself. His granddaughter Lily, small as a sparrow, had perched up on the step beside him, her chin propped on her knees, waiting. She always loved his stories. We were living in a rented shack down by the creek then, just 2 rooms and a lean kitchen too. Sunflower was always expecting our first, and she'd look at that tiny window sometimes, her hands on her belly, and I could see the wish in her eyes. Not for a mansion, mind you, just a place for our own, a real home, with room for a crib and maybe a little patch of grass for them to crawl on. He chuckled softly. Being a chicken farmer, you learn to make do. You learn to build, to fix, to improvise. Your livelihood depends on it. So one evening, after the last hen was tucked in and the eggs collected, I told Sunflower, I want to build us a house. She looked at me, her eyes wide, and she smiled. That smile, it was all the permit I needed. The early days were a blur, of sweat and determination. Hayseed would rise before dawn, tend to the thousands of clucking, squawking creatures, feed and water them, collect the first haul of eggs. Then, with the sun climbing high, he would trade his feed bucket for a shovel, his egg basket for a hammer. First thing was the land, he recounted. A far-off look inside. Pick this spot for the sunrise. I always loved watching the light spill over the fields. Then came the digging. Dug it by hand mostly. Borrowed a mule from old man Jonesy for the heavy hauling. But the trenches, those were all me. My hands could tell you stories about the first few weeks. He held them up, calloused and thick. The blisters, the splinters. Learned to hold a shovel right, for that's for sure. Funds were tighter than a drum. Every board, every nail, every pane of glass had to be earned. One egg at a time. I'll sell the eggs, just keep enough for feed, and the rest went into a coffee hen. When that was full enough, I'll drive to the lumber mill, smelling like chicken feed and hope, and buy what I could. A few 2x4s, a sheet of plywood. The mill manager, Snowcat, she knew my face better than her own reflection. Sometimes she'd give me a discount, just for the sheer stubbornness of it all. Sunflower was his unseen architect, his constant encourager. She would bring him water, a sandwich wrapped in a clean cloth. Sometimes she would just sit on a crate, watching him work, her present a silent wellspring of strength. She never complained, not once. Even when I'll come in reeking of sweat and pine resin, too tired to speak, she'd have a hot meal waiting. She even learned how to hold the end of a measuring tape for me. He remembered the day the first wall went up. It was clumsy, almost fell. But with a grunt and a prayer, he got it plump. Just like raising a barn, but smaller. And a whole lot more personal. Each nail I drove, I saw a memory. Saw our kids running through the halls. Saw a sunflower in the kitchen, humming. It wasn't just wood and nails. It was a promise taking shape. The roof was the trickiest part. He'd never been much for heights. Felt like I was on top of the world, or at least my own little corner of it. Each shingle just laid just so, protecting us from the rain and the snow. I remember looking down, seeing the skeleton of our home, and it hit me hard. This was real. This was ours. It took him nearly a year and a half, working every spare moment. By the time it was finished, enough to move in, their first child, Marianne, was already toddling, her tiny hands reaching for everything. We moved in with not much more than a bed, a table, a pot for cooking, Hayseed said. A soft smile playing on his lips. But it felt like a palace. The smell of fresh pine, the sunlight streaming through the windows. Windows I installed myself, mind you. Sunflower put up curtains she sewn from old flour sacks, and it was perfect, absolutely perfect. He looked at Lily, whose eyes were wide with wonder. Your mama took her first steps in that kitchen right there. Your Uncle Thomas carved his initials in the porch rail, though I painted it over a dozen times. And your Aunt Sarah, she'll sit in that very window seat, reading for hours. Hazy patted his knee, a lifetime of memories woven into every plank, every nail. He didn't fancy this house, for every inch of it, from the foundation to the chimney, was built with these two hands, fueled by love for my family and the sweat of 1,000 chickens. And you know what, Lilybug? He looked at the settling sun, painting the old house in hues of orange and gold. That makes it the finest home a man could ever ask for. The swing creaked again, a quiet, contented sound. The house, ancient and beloved, stood silent, a testament to a farmer's grit, a husband's love, and a family enduring warmth. Hope you guys enjoyed the showcase. As always, remember to smile.